What's up, everybody? Merry Christmas here from Casa de Meacham. I am Jeff Meacham, as you know by watching this channel. You should know that by now after all these years. My goodness, it's been quite a while since I graced you with my presence via the internet, and I apologize for that. It's been a rough year, as you guys know by following me on Facebook and Twitter. A lot of loss this year, a lot of, heartache and tragedy, and some triumphs over this year. You've known that my son is doing very well in kindergarten. I've lost both my grandparents this year, but I soldier on as I always do, and I've decided that now is the time to come before you and address the questions that you want me to answer and the topics that I want to discuss. So let me get to the stuff that I laid out first, and then I will get to Twitter, because there were two people that responded on Twitter. So yay to both of you. You get brownie points. If I was able to send you a bag of those little brownie bites, I would totally do it. But I don't have that kind of money or shipping cost handy. So pseudo brownie points. Woohoo. Okay, let me talk about WWE, because WWE is actually impressing me. I will give them oodles of credit for once in a very long time. They are letting me enjoy watching the product. Okay. Yes, we all know that we didn't want to see the big match of TLC between John Cena and Randy Orton. Okay, we didn't want to see those two personalities that have been shoved down our throats for the better part of 10 years go off against each other for the Undisputed Championship, the Unified Championship, the whatever the fuck they were going to call it championship. Ended up being the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at the end of the day. And now Randy Orton is carrying both straps around a la Chris Jericho. God, 12 years ago. I cannot believe that it was 12 years ago that Chris Jericho won the Undisputed Championship. It boggles my mind to think that so much time has passed in what seems like a short amount of time. Um, but yes, Randy Orton is the undisputed, if you will, face of the WWE. Yes, John Cena is still the public guy. Yes, he's still the guy that appears at Tribute to the Troops and does all the major things for the company. But at the end of the day, the champion is the champion, and Randy Orton is the guy that Vince McMahon, Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, all the writers want to go forward as the champion. And I think there's a big reason for that, and I'll get to that in a minute. But I have to congratulate the shithead Randy Orton on an accomplishment that I feel has been a long time coming. I've talked about this before on Talk Wrestling, on After the Bell, on XMV when we were doing XMV, and all the shows that I've done over the last, my God, 12 years, 11 years, excuse me. There needs to be one guy, one champion in the company. There can't be two world champions. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. And Chris Jericho, in an interview in WWE.com that was posted, I believe, this morning in my insomnia, it could have been yesterday for all I know, mentioned that by having one guy to go after, it drives everybody further, because then they can't go, oh, if I don't beat this guy, I can jump ship and jump for this championship and go after this guy instead. It's like, no, there's one guy. You go after Orton, you go after Cena, you go after whoever is the guy. And I think for a very long time, the big gold belt, the World Heavyweight Championship, was defined as a less than stellar, distant second world championship branded within WWE. The WWE Championship, the one that goes back to Buddy Rogers and Bruno Sammartino and Bob Backlund and all those guys, was definitely booked, in my opinion, as the superior championship, whatever brand it was on. I mean, you go back to the earliest stages of the split between the WWE World Heavyweight Championship back in 2002, 2003. You had, Brock Lesnar was champion, and Kurt Angle, and then on the other side you had Triple H, who was a very stellar World Heavyweight Champion. Yes, he was overbooked. Yes, he was overplayed. But you know what? He's Triple H. Get the fuck over it, seriously. But as time grew on, you had the Raw brand had the WWE Championship, and you had Cena and Orton and Batista and those guys. Whereas on SmackDown, you had Chris Jericho and Jack Swagger and Rey Mysterio and Kane, and guys that weren't viewed by, I guess WWE brass, or the WWE universe, if you will, not me personally, um, as not ready to hold the championship. Dolph Ziggler is a great example. Dolph Ziggler was a two-time World Heavyweight Champion. He's never held the championship, and maybe with the unification of the championships, maybe now the Dolphs and the Kofis and the Sandows will get that chance to go after the top prize, while also making both the Intercontinental and U.S. championships that much more important. When was the last time a U.S. title match meant Jack Diddley? When Ambrose won it. Since then, it hasn't meant anything. Not a damn thing, in my opinion. He's the longest running champion in WWE right now, but who has he really had to step up and really just go after him? There needs to be one world championship, one mid-card championship, and then a tag and a ladies. It's a basic formula. Let the top guys go after the top title. Let the mid-card guys go after the mid-card title. Let the tag teams battle it out. I'll get to tag teams in a minute too. I would definitely have the tag teams right now. And then the ladies can battle over the butterfly belt, the Divas Championship. Okay. Now I mentioned the reason for Randy Orton being the guy. I'm going to completely and utterly steal from JJ, and he can get mad at me if he wants, but you know what? I'm seeing him later tonight, and I'm going to give him a Christmas gift so he can kiss my butt. JJ believes, and I wholeheartedly agree, that we're going to see a reintroduction, if you will, of the Chris Benoit storyline of 2004 involving Daniel Bryan. Bryan will probably win the Rumble and go on to face Randy Orton and finally take his place atop the WWE as the one true champion. Now, you can argue me if you want, but think about it this way. If Cena were to have won the championship at TLC and become the undisputed champion, who would there be that could challenge him that hadn't already beaten him or that he hasn't already put down? Bryan's already beat Cena. Bryan has yet to cleanly defeat Randy Orton. He beat him at Night of Champions, I believe it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it was a fast count by Scott Armstrong that led to the stripping of the championship. He won his first WWE championship at SummerSlam and then got pedigreed and cashed in on by Randy Orton. And then there was Hell in a Cell with Shawn Michaels' involvement there with the super kick. So there hasn't been a clean, decisive finish between Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan for the championship. And JJ's opinion is just stellar. I will give my former roommate heaps and loads of credit. You done good, Jay. I'm proud of you for that assessment. And I hope they do. I hope they go with Daniel Bryan as the number one contender going into WrestleMania and have him charge into New Orleans and just running knee Orton to the face, or give him cattle mutilation. Bring that back, Daniel, please. Just once, Bryan, please. Oh my God, it'd be great. It'd be great. But we'll see how it happens. Okay. When I talk about tag teams, before I talk about the tag team division overall, I want to talk about a couple of tag teams that are either already broken up or heading that way. The first is The Shield. Now, The Shield, the implosion is coming. You can sense it in the works. Roman Reigns has speared Dean Ambrose now on accident, but Roman is proving to be the breakout star of the three, which surprises the shit out of me, I swear to God, because I honestly thought that Seth Rollins, Tyler Black, would be the one to break away from the pack of wolves, if you will, the Hounds of Justice, and establish himself as a single star. He was a former NXT champion. He's a former Ring of Honor World champion. He's competed in Gorilla out here, and he's just been phenomenal. Not to quote a thing from a guy I'm going to talk about later, AJ Styles. But But no, Roman Reigns, with his lineage in the business, I guess, has really stepped up his game, and I am looking forward to him breaking out on his own. But for right now, the Shield is trying to reestablish their dominance. They got a big win Monday night last week, I believe, over Punk and the Usos, and that really showed everybody, hey, we may have had a slip up at TLC when Punk beat all three of us, but we are who we are. Believe in the Shield, and nobody believes in the Shield more than the Cast 18 Studios and this guy. We even use our Kings jerseys, believe in the Shield. So there's a group of eight, JJ, Christian, and Alan, who call themselves the Shield. I'm like their Paul Heyman. I don't finance them because I don't have that kind of money, but I can don a mean baseball cap and a trench coat like Paulie used to. Okay, the other tag team that broke up recently was Tons of Funk, and I bring up Tons of Funk because I honestly feel that them WWE making the decision to turn Brodus Clay heel and have him be a disgruntled former lovable giant, and now he's just this mean person, I think is too little too late. Brodus was brought in as a monster at first, as a backup for Alberto Del Rio when he was challenging Edge for the World Heavyweight Championship back in 2011, if you remember that, at WrestleMania. It was Edge with Christian versus Alberto with Ricardo and Brodus. But for the last 2 years, he's been this fun-loving, dancing, hip-hop, kind of guy, and he's really lost his credibility as a big, dominant big man. I don't think he's going to regain that by turning on Tenzai and dissing Xavier Woods, who is great, by the way, and Ron Killings, or Truth, or, dissing his ladies, the Funkadactyls. But we'll see what happens. I hope for Rotus that I'm wrong, but I usually have a pretty solid opinion on things like this, and I hope I'm wrong in this case. With talk of Tons of Funk and the Shield, you got to talk about the overall tag team division, and my God, what has happened to the tag team division in WWE recently? It's been absolutely great. You've had the Rhodes brothers, Goldust coming back. Who would have thought Goldust would come back in 2013 and be one half of the tag team champions with his brother Cody? Holy cow! It's just been stellar to see. I've loved seeing those two be a tag team. I like the Usos. I like the Shield. I like Tons of Funk when they were together. I like Woods and Truth. You've got the Real Americans. You've got, so many great tag teams in WWE right now. The tag team division really means something for the first time in a very, very, very long time. I'm going back to the Attitude Era, like, the Hardys, Edge and Christian, the Dudleys, those days, okay? The tag team division of WWE has not meant squat, in my opinion, since the brand extension started when they had 2 tag team championships. When they started to unify them back in 2009 with the Colognes, and then the Hart Dynasty got the single championships for them, I think that's been the start of the ball rolling, but 2013 really got that pebble going down the mountaintop and covered in snow quickly. And I credit WWE for making tag team wrestling important again. With tag team wrestling being important, there's also a stronger singles undercard as well. I mean, you've got Big E Langston, Damian Sandow, Dolph Ziggler, The Miz, Kofi Kingston, Fandango. I said it right, don't kill me, Fandango, whatever. And all these other guys who are, stepping up and having great matches on Raw and SmackDown. And, Big E Langston's the Intercontinental Champion right now. He's the top mid-carder, if you will. He's having great matches every week. You've got Damian Sandow, who, could have been world champion if not for running the John Cena the wall. You've got Miz and Kofi who've had this little war going on for the better part of the last month and a half. Just trying to establish dominance over one another. You've got Fandango, who is coming into his own again after having a pretty bad dry spell here for a while. And then you got Dolph Ziggler, who's a constant contender for the World Championship and the Intercontinental US Championship. Dolph Ziggler is awesome. We've said it all along on the Cast 18 Studios channel. We said it from the minute we met Dolph Ziggler. From the minute he broke away from the Spirit Squad and came back as Dolph Ziggler. Dolph is perfection, and he's destined for future greatness. And I hope WWE sees that and just shoots him to the moon again. Just make it happen, guys. Okay, on to TNA. I'm going to talk about TNA. I know TNA is not a popular discussion on other wrestling websites I work for, but I happen to like TNA, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about them. And the first thing, when you think about TNA right now, you think about the phenomenal AJ Styles and whether he is gone truly or not from TNA Impact Wrestling. I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know if he's going to be coming back. I don't know if he's going to be involved. I personally hope that WWE signs him and puts him in the Royal Rumble and has him make a strong showing and then puts him somewhere on the WrestleMania card in New Orleans, because he deserves that spotlight. He deserves to be in a big event match at WrestleMania. AJ has deserved it his entire career. He is what he says he is. He's phenomenal. I don't care what Dixie Carter says in Storyline about how she created the fans created AJ Styles. The fans created that uber support behind him, and for TNA to let him slip away if they have is bullshit. It is so stupid on their part. As much as people give shit to Hogan, it's like letting Hogan slip away. Hogan was a brand name that helped TNA get further established into the lexicon of professional wrestling, and now Hogan's gone. And now you've got AJ Styles, your top guy for 12 years almost, and he's gone too. Poor planning on TNA's part. On the other side, you've got a great new booking strategy in terms of putting the championship on the big guy Magnus from Britain. He and Ethan Carter III, God, and Rockstar Spud have aligned themselves with Dixie Carter, and they seem to be the hot ticket in TNA going into 2014. I know that there's a Impact that's going to be aired on January 2nd, and I'm going to spoil it, so spoiler alert. Chris Sabin's going to regain the X Division Championship, so it appears that TNA is going to be heel heavy with championships again, because you've got Magnus, you've got Chris Sabin, you've got the Bromans, and you've got Gail Kim, all as champion. So TNA seems to be following the proper wrestling formula, having the babyfaces chase the heels for their championships, leading into a big show like a Genesis or whatever's coming up next for TNA. So hopefully that'll be the right thing to do. I do like the alliance of Magnus and Ethan and Rockstar Spud under Dixie Carter's brand. I am of the understanding that AJ is going to return on Impact this week or next week to unify the championships with his own and Magnus's newly won, and that'll be the final curtain call for AJ Styles, and hopefully it won't be too much of a brush off on TNA's part and let AJ have a good send off, but I doubt it. They're stupid. Now, okay, here's the thing that kind of surprises me. Well, actually, I take it back. It doesn't surprise me one bit. You've got Feast or Fired. Chavo Guerrero gets fired. Is he going to be involved in storylines? What are they doing with him? They did it right with Zima getting the X Division title shot. So when Chris Sabin officially becomes champion on television, now January 2nd, you can have a potentially good match between Chris Sabin and Zima Ion coming up in the future, or maybe wait till a babyface gets the belt back and have Zima challenge him. EC3 with a tag title shot? Not sure if I like that, because who is Ethan Carter going to partner with? That everybody hates him. Why would they partner with him unless it's Sting? Getting that rub off of Sting giving Ethan Carter the rub, if you will, and then you got Gunner getting a world championship briefcase shot. So we'll see. Hopefully, I like to see Gunner be the world champion. I always like Gunner. I liked him in NWA when he was national champion. I would personally like to see him be the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Alright, my favorite thing in TNA right now is Kurt Angle and Bobby Roode. These are two guys in storyline that just hate each other. Angle is trying to be respectful and show respect for Bobby Roode, but he's just getting more and more frustrated with every passing week. This last week, Bobby Roode beat him 2 falls to 1 in the same night. And Angle was flabbergasted himself that he let that happen. And the wrestling in the matches, oh, dear Christ, I might just get in trouble for doing something on camera. It just it's just sweet to watch these two compete in matches on Impact and on pay-per-view every single show. They are just great together, and I hope this leads into more and more programs and just more and more better things. More and more better. Thank you, Coach Welch. Things happening. Oh, there goes the alarm. It's 10 o'clock as I tape this. I forgot to turn that off. I apologize. NWO for life. Okay. One more thing I want to mention about TNA before I get to your two questions. Madison Rayne is back. I like Madison. I always like Madison Rayne. I thought she's been an impressive re-addition, to the Knockouts roster. I'm kind of at a loss as to why she's the first real threat, if you will, to Gail Kim's Knockouts Championship. TNA has always had the more impressive women's wrestling division, at least since the Divas Championship was established. But to have Madison be the one to really threaten Gail first is like, okay, we'll see where this goes. Not sure, but we'll go with it. Whatever, right? All right, on to your questions. The first one came in from Michael Scott at Scott the Kid. Here's the topic. Other than Cena, who should Randy Orton put his title up against? I say Punk or Bryan. Both of them. I mentioned Bryan earlier, possibly winning the Royal Rumble and going on to WrestleMania to challenge Randy Orton. Maybe Punk, as much as Punk will hate me saying this, Punk can be Orton's TV program going into WrestleMania. Let Punk challenge Orton at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Let Punk challenge Orton at WrestleMania. That way, when Punk continues to get put down by the establishment's champion, then the match between Punk and Triple H at WrestleMania will mean that much more. Because it's what's building toward. Punk and Triple H are going to go off for WrestleMania. It's going to happen. It just is. All right, this is from Mike X70 at Mike X270, excuse me. Who's your pick to win the Rumble? A week ago, I would have said Punk or Bryan, but now I don't know because the Raw for TLC obviously shows that Bryan, Cena, Orton will main event that pay-per-view. Not necessarily. And potentially Punk versus Triple H may happen somewhere down the line, as I've read on ODQ.com. Also, the Batista rumors are true. I would be surprised if he wins, even though I'm really, that's what he says, hoping that doesn't happen. I guess my official pick will still be Bryan. I'm going with Daniel Bryan to win the Royal Rumble. I'm stealing JJ's line, and he can be mad at me, like I said, but I'll just take it back to his present. So, yeah, Bryan's my pick. Mike also asked, do you think Hulk Hogan will somehow beat WrestleMania 30? If so, what capacity? I'd assume something similar to 21 in a small segment, maybe. Anything beyond a minor appearance, a cameo, if you will, from the Hulkster is going to be disastrous to his personal health and to his long-term post-wrestling life. So I don't think he needs to be doing leg drops and big boots. He just needs to come out there and, be the Hulkster brother and wave and, maybe punch and kick a couple guys. But other than that, no real serious physical activity because he's going to get hurt. And I don't want to see Hulk Hogan get hurt. I value Hulk Hogan. I love Hulk Hogan too much for him to get hurt at this stage over freaking WrestleMania. It's just not that serious. WrestleMania 30 or not, it's not that serious. And finally, from Mike X270, if the rumored Lesnar-Undertaker match happens at WrestleMania 30, do you see it being somewhat forgettable? Unfortunately, I kind of do, since I see no reason for Brock to care about the match at all, because it's clear he is in it for the money. I'm not saying he's a bad guy to be in it for the money. That's a small move financially and for his family, but if he either had a 5-star match or a match that should have been a curtain jerker, Vince would pay him anyhow. Merry Christmas and go Kings go. Indeed, go Kings go. They're playing tonight. I'll be there. It's the last game before Christmas. I would like to see the Undertaker face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. I think it's a money match, and I think that Brock will be up for a big event match like he was with Triple H, like he was with John Cena. And I think that, Brock will do. I mean, think about it. Paul Heyman's guy went into WrestleMania last year against The Undertaker and lost in CM Punk. And that relationship's been dissolved. I think Heyman would love nothing more than for his main guy, the Beast Brock Lesnar, to go in there and attempt to take down the most heralded streak in sports. That's what they call it. I think it's not, but whatever. I'm a baseball fan, so what do I know? But for Brock to face the Undertaker, I don't think he'll kind of half-ass it or he'll not care. I think he'll very much care about the honor of facing the streak and being involved in the streak, win or lose. And yeah, he doesn't care. He gets paid either way at the end of the day. So if he loses, it's not going to be a huge thing on his heart. He'll be like, well, I faced the Undertaker at WrestleMania, I lost. I got paid well for it. So whatever. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching the last 26 minutes. I have enjoyed being in front of the camera again. I like this. I'm going to do this more often. I said that last time and I was months ago, but I'm going to try real hard to be in front of the camera often. I appreciate the questions from Mike and Scott, and please guys, send in questions to me. Send in whatever topics you want me to discuss. I'll be more than happy to do it. We will see you all next time.